What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I apologize if you do hear the fan in the background. It has been extremely warm these last couple of days here in Anchorage, Alaska. It's been well into the mid 70s, and in my room it does get pretty hot, and since my room is kind of directly towards the sun, it makes it a little bit warmer in here, so my fan's a little bit my fan's going a little bit higher than it normally does. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about, is the Sony FX30 worth buying? Well, there's really two answers to this question, so I'm going to answer the first one with my purchase. So the reason why I bought the Sony FX30 is because I wanted a camera that was both that was really primarily a video camera and photo secondary. So for those that are new to my channel, I had originally the Sony a6400 and the Sony ZV-1. Now the a6400 is an amazing camera. It's probably one of the best vlogging cameras I've seen that I've ever used from Sony and ever, next to the FX30, which is my second Sony camera, and the Sony ZV-1. And it's an amazing camera. It's a hybrid shooter. It does both video and photo. Same thing with the Sony FX30, or I'm sorry, with the Sony ZV-1, a small compact hybrid camera that did more photos and videos, kind of half and half. Now, I got rid of those cameras because I wanted a camera that was more video focused than photo focused, because I don't do photos a lot, hardly ever. I really more focused on videos. So when it comes to the Sony lineup, you have your alpha lineups, your A6000 lineups, and you have your alpha lineups. So obviously the A6000 lineups, you've got your 6000, 61, 64, 65, and 66. Those are all amazing cameras, but again, they all focus on photo and video. And then you have your alpha lineup, which is like your A7S3s, your A7Cs, A7 IVs, pretty much all the full frame variants of the APS-C centered cameras. And again, those pretty much are more hybrid, so they focus more on kind of video and photo. But I wanted a camera that did both, that did solely video, and kind of photo was there, but kind of secondary. Now you have your cinema lineup for Sony cameras. So you have the FX30, you have the FX3, and you have the FX6. Well, the FX6 is more of a production line studio kind of camera, and I'm not doing anything remotely close to that level of video, so that's not something I wanted. And then you had a choice between the FX30 and the FX3. Now, the differences between the two, aside from the fact that the body looks pretty much the same, is that one is a full frame camera and the other one is an APS-C centered camera. So in terms of the differences, the main difference is that one is better in low light than the other. I don't do a lot of videos in low light, hardly ever. I don't think I've ever done videos in low light, at least not with a camera, in like years. So I didn't really want to buy a full frame camera, not to mention lenses for a full frame camera are rather expensive, whereas with the FX30 that I have, that is an APS-C centered camera, so my Sony a6400 is an APS-C centered camera, so I'm still using the same lenses that I got from the a6400 on the FX30. So I'm currently shooting on the Sigma 16mm f1.4, and then I bought a new lens, the 11mm f1.8, which I think is probably the much better vlogging lens for this if I'm not doing talking head video lenses or talking head videos. So that is the reason why I bought the FX30, because it still fits in the same price category in terms of what I'm willing to spend. $1,800 is kind of expensive for a cinema camera, but for what it is, it makes sense. Plus, I don't have to worry about buying new lenses if I've already got lenses that can already adapt to that. So the advantages I get from this is the fact that it is full video, which means I can do 4K at 60 frames, 24 frames, I can do 1080 at 60, 30, I can do 120. I also have a full articulating touch screen, not just an articulating screen, which is actually kind of cool. I get a full-size HDMI on this. So when I have my camera monitor, it is a full HDMI as well. I can do HDMI to HDMI instead of micro HDMI to HDMI. And I also have the ability to use dual SD card slots, which means I have a slot on my camera that I can put 4 SD cards, 2 regular SDs, and then 2 compact flashes. And then to go beyond that, I can actually use these SD cards in conjunction as just one SD card, or I can use them separately. So by that I mean I can use one SD card slot for photos and one for videos, or I can combine them both, and then whatever I'm recording on one SD card, it records on the other simultaneously. So if something ever were to happen to one of my SD cards, I have a redundant one. I simply just go and buy another one, or grab one from in my bedroom in my little SD card slot, and then just pop it in there, and then we're good to go. I don't get that option. I never got that option with the A6400 or with any of the other A6000 lineups, because again, those are hybrid cameras. This is a cinema camera. So I get all those features in this camera for around $1,800. And yes, that is kind of expensive for this, but again, for what it is and what I get from this, it is worth it to me personally to buy, because it's something that I want. Now, the second part of that answer is, do you need a cinema camera? And I don't mean that like in a sense of, do you need the cinema camera because everyone on YouTube who reviews the camera makes it sound like it's the most amazing thing on the planet, or are you buying it because someone told you you should buy it? So who's this camera really for, and is it worth it? Well, that depends on you. If you're doing cinematography and you love making videos and you love doing that and you are looking to kind of bolster that as a career, then yes, the FX30 is worth it. But if you're like myself, a content creator who's just making YouTube videos and you just want to get the best that you can get for your videos, then no, I'm going to recommend that you not buy this, because that is a lot of money that you're spending for a camera that you can do with other cameras in the APS-C sensor lineup, such as the A6400, the 66, and the 65. Those are perfect vlogging cameras for the average content creator, especially if you're going to be doing content like this where you just have a simple talking head videos. Now, like I said, it's going to be different for everybody, but for me, I wanted a camera that's more focused on video, less on photos, because I don't do a lot of photos. Where someone else, they may think that they do a lot of videos and don't do a lot of photos. You are spending a lot of money on a camera that occasionally you're going to want to do photos. And the one thing that this does not give you that all the other A6000 lineups give you is this does not have an electronic viewfinder, or EVF. You have to rely on the mirror, on the viewfinder or the view thing, in order for you to see what it is that you're looking at and how you can focus, tap the focus, and do all that with that, as opposed to simply just looking through the viewfinder, setting yourself up, and then shooting it. Now, I'm not saying that the FX30 does not do great at photos. It does an amazing job at photos, but that's one of the things you'll be sacrificing if you love that. So if you're into video and solely only video, then yes, the FX30 is worth it. But if you want a camera that does both video and photo, then no, the FX30 is not for you. I'd recommend any of the other Sony A6000 lineups, like I said, the 64, 65, or 66. Those would be a much better camera for you than the FX30. Now, like I said, there are a lot of YouTubers out there who are doing these reviews and they're making the camera sound way cool and what it can do. And don't get me wrong, I love this camera and it does everything that they say it needs that it can do. But if you're not into that, if you don't need S-Log3, Cinetone, if you don't need any of that, then I really couldn't recommend this camera to you, because you're really spending too much money on a camera that you're not going to be taking advantage of when it comes to shooting the video. And another thing that most people tend to forget, especially when it comes to cameras like this, is that you need a good computer in order to even remotely do any type of editing on these cameras. And a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers don't really mention this when it comes to these kind of cameras, whether it's this camera, the FX3, or the A6400, 66, 65. When you are shooting in a higher res, when you're shooting in a higher resolution, you're going to need a computer that is capable of editing and rendering those types of resolutions. And I'm talking about you going to like Best Buy or Costco's or whatever and spending like $300 or $400, $600 or $700 on a laptop or a desktop. You would need a computer that has a discrete graphics card, because that's kind of what those are designed for, is to kind of pick up that slack of editing and rendering your videos, especially if you're shooting in the high res, like if you're shooting in 4K at 24 or 4K at 60. So again, it depends on the person and what their needs are. Again, you may think you need a camera that's solely video and less photo, until you actually realize that you don't really need a camera with more video and less photo. You really want a good, high quality camera that does both video and photo. And that would be up to the person that's looking to buy that type of camera. But if you were to ask me, should I buy this camera, and you tell me what you do, and it doesn't really require or sound like you're going to need a lot of video to be doing that, then I'm going to tell you no. But like I said, it's going to be different for everybody, because that's just how everybody is. Like I said, I may not have needed the FX30. I would have been perfectly fine with, say, the A7, or not the A7C, but the A6600. But I'm not into both photo and video. I wanted a camera that did both, or that did solely video, with photo in mind, but not the number one thing. And that is why I bought the FX30. So again, I hope that this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a comment down below. Please give me a thumbs up, as these likes to help me create better content. And if you do want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. And my name is Black Appeal, the Apple Guy. I'll drop a link down below for some of my best accessories for the FX30 if you have the FX30 or if you are thinking of buying the FX30. So please check out that video. And my name is Black Appeal, the Apple Guy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Enjoy what is left of summer.